Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa, and today I'm going to be working on my series 50 Ways to Bust Your Scraps. This is idea number 3. So I'm going to be taking my scraps that are just random sizes, shapes. I'm going to be focusing on ones that are more digital weight to do this project. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking this one is a coffee dyed scrapbook or a copier paper, or I also have these copier papers that I dyed with my watercolor pencils. If you haven't seen that video, they're very fun. But it's just a way to decorate these plain pages to be able to put into a journal. So I'm going to start with the coffee dye, and all we're going to do is we're going to take some of these, and I'm going to fold them in half, or fold them ish in half, and we're going to glue them to the front and back of these pages around the border, giving them a border. Now, one thing that I'll do is it will also make it be a little stronger, the paper. So if you have thinner papers, this is a good idea to do for it. And we might want to just, all right, we might want to do glue one at a page, one at a time. And glue that down. I am going to be randomly picking stuff to do, and these are going to go sideways. So you can really start with bigger pieces, smaller pieces. Obviously, the bigger the piece you do, the less time it's going to take to do this. I didn't overlap that, but that is definitely something you could do. Now, I've seen this, something very similar to this. I know that Gail Augustinelli does this with pieces. Now I have to put something there. I should have overlapped it. Didn't think about the fact that the front and back could be a little bit off, but that's okay. She just puts them on one side and glues them, but I just thought this wraparound would be kind of fun to do also. So this is my version of what she has done, and I'm just trying to grab stuff that feels thinner. And wrap them around. Yeah. So I might have to go back and fill in some spots doing it this way. But we'll see. Could fill it in with a piece of washi or just a small scrap. This was just an idea I had off the top of my head. Whoops, don't fold it too far. Don't want to necessarily fold the paper. We'll smush that down. And there we go. Now, as I'm looking at this, there's no reason why we couldn't just do like the outside like that, but my whole plan was to do the whole thing. So I'm going to continue my process here. And we'll go ahead and do that. So I hope your day is going well. It's still fairly cold around here, which is not, oh, that's not good. Luckily this was kind of the same color, but the glue stuck to the page and pulled off. And we didn't want that to happen, but it did. I'm gonna trim a little of this off, only because it's much longer, but also because the end is kind of ragged. It was probably torn versus cut. So yeah, this is a learning curve, as they say, but I am here to show you what to do and what not to do, right? That's my whole theory. If you haven't seen my channel often, I do make mistakes, and I'm definitely willing to own up to those mistakes and fix them. Now there's a line right there, so I think I'm going to come in a little bit just to make it be okay. This will be a little bit taller than the other pieces, but I don't think that's a problem. All right, checking out the fold. Yeah, got a little bit in the fold for that one. I'll keep that in mind for the other part. Oops. There we go. So far, I definitely like it. We'll see how we go from here. All right, so I'm gonna hold that one. I think I'll wrap this one around, and then I'll figure out something to go in between. So has anybody been watching the March Madness that happened over the weekend? I know it's been a while since then, but it was quite exciting. My son goes to, or went to, U of I, the Illini, and they advanced to the Final Four. And his future wife is a big fan of Michigan, and they advanced to the Final Four. So, and they're on opposite ends of the, brackets. So there's a chance if they win their Final Fours, they can meet in the Final Two. Talk about a house divided, right? So we'll see. And they're both pretty good. I mean, Michigan crushed it. The Illini did really good also. I wouldn't say totally crushed it. They were, when I saw it, they were tied for a while. That fits perfectly in there. Definitely some fun colors. You can go that way. Let's see how it looks on the other side. I want it to overlap slightly. Oh, and it does. Okay, let's go with that. Yeah, so I believe I think this is going to air before it, but I believe the game for the Final Fours is on Saturday. I think both are on Saturday. I'm not sure when the final would be. If they both make it or one makes it. I mean, heck, both could not make it. I mean, one of those ones and dones, you just never know. I mean, they're both really good teams, so there's a chance, a very good chance, that one or both could make it. I'm loving it so far. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So as you can see, if you do bigger pieces, it doesn't take as long to do. Let's get rid of that so we don't pull this up again. And doing the thinner pieces has definitely been the way to go. So live and learn, I guess, with this project. figure out what works, what doesn't. But like I said, Gail, Gail Gustinelli, who does it, she just puts them on one side and lines them up. So it would definitely be a lot easier to do, but this is really making this page strong. For sure. Okay, we are on to the home stretch, as they say. And I do like the randomness of it. It's kind of like a patchwork of a like a scrappy patch quilt or something. So making sure I get off the fold. Probably a little farther off the fold than I would have liked, but that's okay. Now, if you wanted to go into a specific journal, you could definitely pull out similar colors and just do it that way. Or like this way, if you just wanted to be going anywhere, then you can just randomly do it. And we're going to go with that one. And it doesn't bother me that some are higher and lower and they're not even. If you wanted to make them even, you probably would have to start out doing a specific size and not totally do scraps, or take your scraps and cut them down to that size as you're doing them. There you are. So lots of options, that is for sure. Okay, last glue. All right, well, with the words, it would definitely need to go that way. So do I try to find a little piece? Maybe one of my... All right, I got this little strip. But it's got words going the wrong way. I don't like that. I just pulled out my little box of strips that I used in that last video. I figured I could find something light and skinny to put in there. Not sure why there's a false egg in there. Kind of weird. All right, that's too thick. You have a nice feel. Yeah, let's do that. I don't mind that. Okay, we will wrap that around. This ooh stuff sticks pretty fast. I didn't get a chance to slide it. Just wanted to cover that whole thing. Yep, that'll work. Okay. Now I could have used washi tape. I put a little piece of washi tape on there if I wanted to cover that. That one doesn't bother me as much. It's pretty thin. That one was definitely a bit thicker. So yeah, what did I learn from it? Do not go over the fold with your stuff. I mean, it works, but that's just leaving one little spot. That means if you want to sew it into a signature, that's a little thicker. So we want to avoid that if possible. Try not to cut the page. Just cut that. And random is fun. But yeah, to go into a journal, I like it. I like it a lot. All right. I think we have time to do one more, so let's randomly pick one. Eeny, meeny, miny. All right, let's do, I seem to have a lot of blues in there. Let's do some blues. Let's do some blues. And should we try to pick colors that got blues in there and go from there and make this be more of a focused one? I have to straighten that one out a little bit, but that'll work. That'll work, even though it's not blue, but it's got some white to it. That's pretty. It doesn't have to all be blue, like I said. It definitely got some words on that one. You are too thick. That is, grays have some sort of blue tones. You have blue tones. Some of these are really big. Been buried for a while, but probably too small, but we'll give that a shot. You said I can always cut some of these down a little bit. Tealish blue. I'm sure I pulled way too much. Those are too thick. Probably pulled too much, but better to have more than not enough. Okay, let's start with that pile and see where we can go from there. All right, that glue has dried, so let's go from there. Okay. All right, I think I want to go that way. But I think I'm going to cut you down a little bit just because. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to start with that one. We'll start in the corner, or the fold. So as usual, if you like the video, a thumbs up would be awesome. Support is always welcomed. That is for sure. And it's so easy to, and it's free. Just click a button. I like the video. Click. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If this is the first time you saw one of this series, it's going to be 50 ways to bust your scraps. Hopefully I can get to 50. Seems like there should be, you know, a million ways, but all right, let's do that. But I'm gonna get rid of this white part. These are all, I mentioned it earlier, depending on what part of you're paying attention at the beginning, but these are all going to be papers that are more scrap white. So that they're easier to fold over. Now, if you didn't want to fold it over, you probably could use heavier stuff because it's just one layer, but the folding part definitely makes it easier if you're using lighter papers. Okay, now this one is pretty heavy, double-sided. We're gonna put that one back. And this needs to just be straightened a little bit. Let's go with the words. Words are always fun. And go with that. Now I don't particularly have a journal that I think these are going to go in, so they'll just be around and available. Okay, not sure why those are there. Put those away. Okay, let's see, what do we got here? This is really pretty, but it's got some whites and a weird fold. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Totally figured out a way to make this easier. I mean, gluing one side seems to be working pretty good. Like I said, I could randomly just glue one side and then fold it at that point, but when I did that on the first one, I got one that was much shorter on one side than the other. Seems to be a little easier to control if you do it that way. All right, let's do this. All right, I'm gonna cut this down. Be a little taller, but cut it down just a little more. Oops. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This stuff is gooey. That is for sure. All right, let's not go in the fold. Go from here. Like, why is it two different colors? I'm very confused. All right, halfway done. And now you could definitely leave it like that if you just wanted to have one page with some decoration and then the other page just to be blank. That would be another option to do. I do believe it's been a while since I've seen her do a video on these. And like I said, I think she definitely does just do one side. So it would be like here and there, and then the back side would be just the solid colors. So doing it, so this is in a journal, this is on, you know, one side of the book, and then this is on the other, is definitely an option. But since I've got the papers pulled, I'm gonna go ahead and finish what I was doing, as they say. All right, we're gonna trim this down. Definitely want to use this. This is so pretty. So let's do that, because then I can put something here. Put that on top. Okay, let's do that. We're going to put this one here. Look at me planning ahead. Sort of. Okay. Oops. All right, so you are going to go here on the front, leaving room at the fold and going from there. Now what's nice too, like these papers that are dyed, the coffee dyed or any of the, I do my RIT dye, or yeah, the t-shirt RIT dye ones, the paper gets a little bit weak when you dye them. So putting this on the outside, like I said, really strengthens these pages. These are definitely strong pages now. Okay, we're coming in the home stretch here. All right, what do we got? This is more of a gray. We got some more words. I got words on that side. So words on this side would not be the worst thing. They're definitely tiny. I don't want to go over the top because that would be make them upside down. So I said I don't mind, like I said before, if some are smaller, some are longer. I am fine with that. That's a nice length. Touch to the top. Okay, let's do that. A little bit better at putting these on. Doing little tricks and tips. Oops. Oh, I see. When it touches this ink and it comes to here, it becomes this weirder purple color. That's the mystery. How weird is that, though? Why would it do that? Interesting. Okay, home stretch. Go ahead and do this. And even though these are beige and browns, there is some of that same color over there and sort of here. This works, except for the fact that it's chewed up. Let's unchew it and see what we got. Over the top with that. I think we go with this one. All right, I'm going to shorten this just a little. Don't need to overlap it that far. Overlap it a little. Do tweaking to it. That works for me. Too bad I can't cut straight. I probably should have gotten my cutter out and cut it straight. I like it. Okay. Okay, final cut. for days otherwise. And I do not mind that parts are going in the garbage. You're going to be saved though, because it is a bust and scrap. So it either busts a scrap or goes in the garbage if it's too small. There we go. Beautiful. One last piece. Well, I hope you enjoyed this idea. Like I said, it's sort of been done before. This is just my take on it, my interpretation. And again, just a great way to see if we can bust some scraps and make those piles smaller. Use what we have, right? Alright, so a blue version. Pick up these scraps, put them back in the box. I never used that one. It was a bit thicker, but you know what? Should I put it there? That'd be kind of fun. Even that out a little bit. I like it. I'm just gonna trim a little bit of that white off. It's a little thicker, and since it's not wrapping, I am going to use my art glitter glue to glue it down. I'm sure this was just a extra piece cut off of trying to line it up. Cooperate. There you go. Some extra piece of some watercolor I was doing, or some inking I was doing. That really wasn't probably going to be able to go anywhere else. Yeah, a little washi tape there or something would work. I like it, right? And since these are open, these definitely could be used for adding photos to it, or adding some journal cards to it, adding, just writing some stuff on there. But if you had like a journal card you wanted to add, you could put something on there and it would frame it as a frame. Just happened to pick that one. It didn't go with it, but it just happened to be sitting there. Yeah, I like it. I like this idea. All right, so we've got the one that I did with the blues. And then we've got the random one where we just put random colors on there. Fun, right? I like it. Okay, well, if you like the video, again, thumbs up would be very, very appreciated. And if you want to leave a comment, question, please feel free to do that. I'm always going to be happy to answer any questions or comments that you leave. All right, that's going to be it for me today. I appreciate each and every one of you that has stopped by. Get it into view. There we go. And as usual, I hope you all have a wonderful and creative day. Bye for now.